Hi guys, Phil here from the Mindful Mover, and today we're going to talk about one of our favorite one-arm chin-up progressions that we like to use to develop the one-arm chin-up. And that progression is the mixed grip chin-up. And of course, we're going to apply accommodating resistance to it so that we can get the most intensity out of the least reps. Here we go. So with the mixed grip chin-up, what you're going to do is grab onto your rings with one hand, palm facing you, and the other hand, palm facing away. The palm facing you, that's your working hand, and the palm facing away, that's your assistance hand. And what you're going to do is start in a nice dead hang with the working hand facing you and the other one facing away, and you're going to start pulling on the working hand by trying to drive the elbow back, like you're trying to elbow someone in the face behind you. It's really important that when you do this, you start by only pulling with the working hand. That's going to make it so that the way up is a grind. That's how we use accommodating resistance. As you're pulling with the working hand, you're going to get stuck, unless you can already do a one-arm chin-up. On the way up, you're going to get stuck at a certain point. That's when the assisting hand is going to give you just enough help to get you moving and make the entire way up a grind. Now, when you reach the top, you're going to shift even more weight onto this hand because we're stronger eccentrically. And you're going to shift over until there's so much weight on it that you begin to actually start to fall. As you fall, resist that fall and try to make it take as long as possible. All right, so let's go over some key notes for the performance of this exercise. 1, we don't want what we call rocket ship reps. What's a rocket ship rep? That's where you grab the rings, boom, and when you go up, you go rocket ship rep. You look like a rocket ship going up at that point. The problem with the rocket ship reps is that you're not using accommodating resistance and you're basically not getting all the intensity that you could at the exercise. To avoid that, make sure that when you grab the ring with the working hand, you pull with this hand primarily, and this other hand gives you the least amount of assistance as possible. That will make the rep really intense and avoid rocket ship repping. Keynote number 2, avoid achieving what we call terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is what happens when you put too much load on the working hand on the way down. And what happens is that you get to a certain point and then you drop. And why do we call it terminal velocity? Well, that's probably how you hurt your shoulder and leave your shoulder hanging off the bar while you're on the ground. It's not what you want to happen. How do we avoid that? We make sure that we make the eccentric involuntary. We add lots of load so gravity is pulling us down, but we make sure that the entire range where we're being pulled down is controlled. Gravity is forcing us down to the ground and we're resisting the entire time, but we're never going out of control, we're never dropping, we're never risking leaving our shoulder attached to the bar while we are on the ground and we're looking up and wondering why we have such pain here, etc., etc. All right, keynote number 3. Make sure that when you're doing the movement, you start from a dead hang each rep. Don't make the mistake of doing partial reps where you don't fully lock out your elbow. Partial reps means partial results. Get that full range of motion so you get the full range of gains. Next keynote, make sure that you alternate hands each repetition. So for example, if this is my working hand on rep number 1, I'm going to pull over towards this one, lower back down, and then I'm going to come down and swap hand positions and then do the same thing on the other side. What that does is keep you from growing one gigantic arm and having one tiny arm. Last keynote, this one is a little bit subjective, but you might find this movement more comfortable on the wrist, elbows, and shoulders if you perform it on rings compared to a bar. Everyone's different, so this may or may not apply to you, but if you feel any pain during this movement, try swapping over to rings and seeing if that works better for you. Give the mixed grip chin up a try, and get aboard the game train and stay tuned for the rest of the progressions for our big 5 strength exercises. Woo woo!